Ben, you got to mute, Levy.
Okay, I think we are going live.
And we're live. Hello, everybody. I'm Jennifer Bradley, a company member with New Ambassadors Theater, and welcome everybody to Lab 31.
Wow.
Very exciting evening tonight. We have 5 fabulous playwrights that we're featuring. Max Gill, Ruthie Rado, Ben Dworkin, Mandy Murphy, and David Adam Gill. There is going to be some really exciting stuff coming across your screens tonight. While you're watching these pieces, we do ask that you think about certain things that you're watching. For popcorn moments, did something that you saw trigger something in you? Did it make you think of something? Did you see one? Did you see a piece that you'd like to be developed further? We're going to ask all that in a feedback session in between each piece. And we're also going to have a form that you can fill out at that time where you send the feedback to the playwright. So without ado, yeah, I think I'm going to go. Our first piece is going to be Max Gill. And his piece is called now it's like The Pirate Queen of the Hudson. And it features Erin Mon, Aria Kashyap, Matthew Menendez, Laura Darrell, Susan Richard, and stage directions read by Emily Mikesell. So all of you say hi to your lovely audience and get ready to be fabulous. Good luck, and we'll talk after you're done.
Pirate Queen of the Hudson, a high seas adventure yarn set on a river of medium width. A full-length play by Maximilian Gill. Act 1, Scene 1 summary. Gus and Edna are a couple from Canada who have come to New York City to make some money. While clubbing one night, they are captured by pirates who are cruising the Hudson River in a converted luxury yacht. Gus and Edna are taunted by Badge, the first mate, and Mills, the second mate, and learn that they are being held captive by Kali, a notorious pirate. Gus has devised a bluff to get them free when they confront Kali for the first time. Scene 2, lounge of the yacht. Badge and Mills are hanging out, guns holstered, but at the ready.
I'm not jesting. Tell no one.
An actual treasure map, come on.
I've seen it.
Does it have an X mark in the spot?
How else would you know where the treasure is?
And where's the spot?
Staten Island.
Where would you get a treasure map?
Remember the pirate conference last year in Norfolk?
Sure.
I met an old crust of a pirate, Peg Lee Oswald.
Did he have a wooden leg?
That's a vicious rumor.
So it's not true?
Synthetic plastic. How would he acquire wood?
It's all suspicious.
Do you want to share the booty or not?
You're asking me?
You and me. We take a boat on a scouting run.
What about the captain?
Not this time.
Why?
She doesn't need to know.
It wouldn't be right.
Have you no ambition?
Have you no gratitude?
Masses of it.
Shh, here she comes.
So go get them.
Me?
Your turn.
Mills exits. Kali enters. She is a pirate queen and moves with a regal air. Kali puts on a beret, or some other headwear. She nods to Badge. What do you think? Badge just shakes her head. Kali gives her a look. Really? You don't like it? Badge shakes her head more emphatically. Kali shrugs and flings the beret at Badge, who catches it. Mills enters with Edna and Gus, who are still dressed for dancing.
You've stepped into the presence of Pirate Queen Kali, black-tongued, blood-drinking, terror of the waves. You will bend deeply and respectfully at the waist.
Gus and Edna look at each other, then bow. They look at Badge for confirmation. She waves them lower. They bend more. She gestures at them to straighten. Kali nods to Badge, who hands her a tablet. Kali looks at it.
That's it?
We cleaned out their accounts.
That's it?
Sorry, but
We live by weekly paycheck, and we
What do you do?
basic systems tech.
You?
I wait tables.
Where are you from?
Canada, Ottawa.
I was born in New York, but we went north when I was young.
What kind of softwit knows how it is down here and still moves back?
You can't find jobs in Canada anymore.
No.
Too many immigrants competing for too few.
Immigrants like you.
Well, yes.
I'm Canadian born.
Oh, you are, aren't you? So pleased you informed us. Badge, make sure and proclaim throughout the fleet that this particular individual trapped in our hold is actually Canadian born.
Oh, I'll proclaim.
She wouldn't want to be mistaken for any of the desperate rabble trying to get over that border wall, would she? Pretty obvious just by observing her cool reserve that she never really sweated through a hot day until she got down here. And now you just pity us, don't you?
She didn't mean.
I'll decide what she meant.
Gus and Edna look down, chastened.
Badge, you've been to Canada, haven't you?
Aye, but I didn't linger.
Did they welcome you with open arms?
Rather fully loaded arms. Shot as many as they could and sent our boat into the drink.
Did you ever go back?
I decided a career in piracy was better than washing up on a hostile beach surrounded by the corpses of my family.
I have a list of things a career in piracy is better than. I'll have to add that.
We were illegals, not like these two. They're special.
Look at us, you mighty Canucks.
Badge shoves the backs of Edna and Gus's heads. They look around at the three pirates.
Now you've seen the starving, sticky masses knee-deep in the rising tide. Lend us your pity. No, better, give us the names of anybody back home who would pay to see you alive again.
My family doesn't have anything.
Not even their precious daughter. And you?
My parents lost everything in the crash 6 years ago.
The fall crash?
The one prior.
The spring crash?
That one.
Who can keep track anymore?
You've taken everything we have. Could you please just let us go?
Mills, what do you think of the cut of this gent's suit?
Fairly trendy.
You'd call it that?
Sure.
I wouldn't know. I live on a boat. And what about her?
I couldn't pull it off, but on her, why not?
When people pull it off these days, where do they usually find themselves?
Lower Manhattan, for the most part.
Still,
Once the wall breached, all the corporate offices cleared out, so the upper floors were turned into clubs.
you're telling tales.
No, you get there by boat. They call it the Venice of the Atlantic, except Venice already sank, so maybe they should just call it Venice.
How do you know?
My friend Josie works at one of those places. It's called the Doge's Palace.
Edna and Gus glance at each other. They know this place.
Have you had word from Josie lately?
Just last night she called me.
Are you worried our guests are finding this tiresome?
I can keep it short.
So considerate.
Josie's a bartender. Last night she had a customer who bragged that he invested huge amounts of money.
Edna looks at Gus with suspicion.
Was he with anybody?
He didn't mention, but Josie could see his date waiting patiently at a corner table while he flirted with her.
So Josie called you.
Twice. Once after she met this guy, a second time after the two of them left. By then, of course, we had a team on a skiff intercept their boat.
Holly looks at Gus intently.
Yeah, I was bragging a little.
Your bank account doesn't hold all your money, does it?
I really don't know.
Passage off this vessel is 100,000 in yuan.
100,000?
Oh, it's reasonable.
Gus looks at Edna, who gives him an encouraging, "You can do this" look.
Actually, I have another suggestion.
No.
I request that you hear me out.
Badge pokes him with an elbow.
I request humbly.
He said no.
He has spirit. Let's see what he does with it.
I don't have money to spare, but I have something far more valuable. Contacts at the Canadian Embassy. I can make a deal. Get you and your top people papers for Canada. Legally. No leaky boats.
You can do that?
Only if you don't harm us and release us in good time.
So you have contacts.
Sure.
Who do you work for again?
I won't tell you.
Kali gestures to Mills.
The Fournier Group.
And
They put money in things that are illegal most places, but New York's a Babylon. Few regulations. The Fournier Group specializes in what they call peril funds. They're complicated, and I don't want to make it too complicated.
don't.
Peril funds are hedge funds that bet on disasters, which waters will rise, which forest will burn, which species will become extinct. The worse things become, the better they do.
They profit while the world burns.
Basically.
Okay, my firm is involved in some complex investment instruments. If it's helpful, I can go into the details.
Anybody interested?
Odds against.
Nope.
This vessel used to be what was known as a luxury pleasure yacht. People hardly set upon the waters for pleasure anymore. You know why?
Gus shakes his head.
Too many pirates.
She glances at Mills and Badge, who laughed boisterously at the joke.
You know what this space used to be?
It looks like it was a nice one.
A lounge. People used to hold diversions in here. You see where the bar was? Nice space for dancing right where you're standing. Maybe even a mirrored ball above your head. You ever enjoy revels on a yacht?
Before my time.
They might have staged orgies in here. Maybe we should try that.
She looks at Badge and Mills. Badge shakes her head.
You're right. We're better off pillaging. No, I don't think they were the type. I think they were fat, contented fellows drinking brandy in snifters and messaging their whiskers. Probably in finance, like you. But good thing you're keeping in fine shape for that suit. They were the kind of bloated, well-off bastards who would order up women to dance for them. Maybe the women were paid, maybe they weren't. Who cares? They're just women. You think that's likely?
Very.
I can see it. What do you think, ladies?
Mills nods.
Anybody want to sing a sea shanty?
What's that?
Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum. That sort of thing.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, I just know the one line.
Just put something on.
Badge touches her tablet. Music comes on. Let it be funky.
Dance for us.
What?
You heard me.
No, I don't think I'll.
Kali gestures to Badge. Badge points her gun at Gus's legs.
Hey, wait!
Captain wants a dance.
He starts dancing. It's awkward and kind of horrible. Kali and Badge clap along to the music. Mills is hesitant at first, but joins in.
Ooh, what a fiery man-child.
No false encouragement.
I'm genuinely pleased.
Do a real dance.
I don't know any.
Sure you do. The lobster.
The what?
You heard her.
Gus starts imitating a lobster, somehow.
And the claws.
Gus pinches his hands like claws.
Yes, that's a lusty lad.
Now the drunken sailor.
Gus reels drunkenly, but somehow rhythmically. It's pretty grotesque.
Let the stem sway.
Gus looks at her quizzically.
Shake your arse.
He does so.
Your turn.
I'm not sure.
Just say something.
The fearsome Viking.
Is that a dance?
It will be now.
Gus tries something.
That's no Viking.
He gives it another go. Maybe he pretends he has a horned helmet.
Come on, more fearsome.
He grimaces, does his best.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh, please make it stop.
No, we're reveling.
Gus's moves are getting increasingly unhinged.
Can't you see how him? Oh,
Oh, you want to see pain?
will you please let him stop?
Fine.
She claps her hands. Gus collapses. Kali approaches him and lifts him by his chin.
Now, why would we want to hop the wall to Canada when there's no such party like a New York party?
I don't know.
You can't get us in anyway, can you?
No.
I want money.
We'll get it for you. Just let me take care of him.
And if you can't get it in good time,
I don't know.
Take a guess.
You'll kill us?
Painfully.
out of my sight.
Kali gestures to Mills, who takes Edna and Gus to exit. End scene.
You guys were so funny. My screen kept on going, you're on mute, because I was laughing so hard.
Me too. Me too. So, you guys, it was so great. Congratulations, Max. I wanted to ask you, Max Gill, is there anything or any particulars that you would like people to think about in offering you feedback?
Yes, I would. This takes place in the future, which I think is apparent, but there's a lot of world building in the scene, a lot of sort of details about what's going on. And I'm just sort of wondering if those things are clear, if there's too much detail, if it gets confusing, questions like that.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. It was marvelous. Really funny.
All right. So I'd like to open up the floor for feedback on this piece, and to also keep in the top of your mind your popcorn moments, language or phrases that stood out to you, any imagery, things that you liked, was anything confusing, and in particular in how it relates to the world building and the other specifics Max Gill announced. David.
Yeah, Max, that was so funny. No, it was apparent to me. I think that the amount of detail you put into it enables it to be for us to buy into it. Like, you're very specific about things, about the business, the company that he works for, and how they bet against disasters. And I think the detail that you give us enables us to buy into it more. And so I was right with it. I thought it was great.
Okay, thank you.
Mandy?
There were two moments, Max, that I really appreciated that didn't feel expositional, but really allowed me to get into the world. And that was the Venice moment and the yacht, talking about like her good speech about like this used to be that, which was a whole lot more than just a moment to understand their world. But they were subtle and they helped me get
it. And anyone else? Yes, Luis?
Yeah, so I saw this like such a fun, like it was so cinematic because I felt like I could see the person sitting in the chair, like this really nice red chair, you know, being told about the history of this yacht and what people used to use it for pleasure and moments of excess, you know. So I was really intrigued at that being a point of topic in these pirates who turn out to be quite like scallywags, which I love the language that they used, because that got me into like, it was a slight bit of like, it was a little crazy, a little theatrical, you know. It's like they're talking like they were back then, and that for me like kind of split the balance of it being like this very serious like post-modern future thing that might be so sullen but also funny, but also to contrast it with that character I thought was great, like sugar with the medicine, you know what I mean, like when like digesting everything. So I love that. And it got me really invested to see like on future parts of the play, like how these scallywag people are like, are they going to be drinking rum? You know, like how like that moment in 12th Night where they're all in the basement, just like, you know, causing a ruckus, you know what I mean? It would be so much fun to play. And I love the fact that now like it's just about people, you know what I mean? It's just about people being bullies, you know, in that moment, you know, and that kind of story is timeless. So yeah, I loved it.
Appreciate it.
Other comments? How about something specific in terms of any of the characters resonate with you, or was there something that you'd like to see developed more, or an angle that you wanted to see examined? David.
I just want to say again, I'm not sure if I said it. I love the trio of pirates. I love their sarcasm, but I also love they're almost like bored with this. You know, they're like trying to come up with ways to entertain themselves. And again, you know, these three actors played it so well, so dryly. And I'm not sure if that was the intent, but again, you couldn't hear me, but I was laughing really loudly. I just thought it worked very well. And that was the thing that brought me and sold me on everything. The sense of humor.
I also think the sense of humor is so important to so that when we do feel like, oh, there's a real danger here, it blinds us a little bit, because we think like, oh, pirate conference, like, oh, these guys seem like chums, but then you realize towards the end of the scene, like, no, the threats to this couple is very real. These people aren't screwing around. They're real pirates. So I thought that was a nice, again, as you discussed with us before, blending of the worlds of comedy and dark underbelly.
I'd like to make a comment. One of the things that stood out to me, and I'm kind of piggybacking on what David said, is that I feel the fatigue of the characters in the scene, as opposed to, oh yeah, woo. I mean, I feel the fatigue, and it reminds me so much of sort of how we're all going through COVID fatigue right now. You know, it's like, oh, yeah. We're just kind of going through the motions. So I really liked that aspect of it too, that they were talking about these things that are, you know, have high stakes and are really intense, but with such an almost malaise attitude toward it. I thought that was very clever.
Thanks.
Anyone else?
I was gonna just say, I think part of the humor that I really it kind of ties in with what people are saying, but part of the humor and the tone of the piece that I really liked, I think, came from how familiar the three pirates are with each other. Like, you know, if she was really like a fearsome pirate queen and she comes in wearing something, she wouldn't ask any of them for their opinion and then throw it off when one of them doesn't like it. And I think I love that there's still like that camaraderie is there, and that makes it funnier when they're just brutally honest with each other. Like, I don't know, she's sea shanty. Like, what do we do? You know, like, that's, I think, part of the comedy is like how familiar they are. They've clearly been through shit together, and I love that. And as the play goes on, I'd love to see more of that. I feel like that's going to be so central to the tone. And if one of them like turns against the queen, it's going to be even more impactful. You know, I can see that happening too in the future if that's like in your mind. So.
Did Badge go to a pirate conference but didn't know what a sea shanty was?
It's a very good question.
That's my only thought.
Yeah, good point.
I feel like they watch sea shanties on TikTok. Both together.
That could very well be. All right. Well, did anyone have anything else to offer in terms of ideas or things to focus on going forward? I have one more. I just want to say that I find it so intriguing, and I find it compelling to follow these people on their journey and see what happens to them when they're really faced with something, you know, dangerous or, you know, extreme of some sort, and to see how they react to that and how that breaks their, you know, their staid facade or something, you know. So that's what I would say. If we are good to move on, I would love for us to do our second piece. The second piece tonight was written by Ms. Ruthie Rado of the Fabulous Red Hair and stars Luis Alberto Quintero, Mary Lauren, Miley Binion, hey Miley, and Devin Alex Sumner with a lovely chess background. And I was wondering, Ruthie, if you could just give us a brief synopsis or lead into what we're going to see.
Yes, thank you, Jen. So this is my play Spills. It had a production in the before times. And what I'm dreaming of for this current draft that you're going to see tonight is a digital production wherein all the actors and a camera operator are in the same space and they're performing the show live. And then the audience watches via video feed on the internet, excuse me, from far and wide. So that's sort of the goal of this. So if it helps you to imagine that the actors would actually be in the same space, this isn't like a Zoom play. And let me see, what would really help me, audience today is if something like hits you, if you could like drop an LOL in the chat, I would love that. And if you take my word for it, that what comes before this excerpt and what comes after this excerpt are uproariously hilarious, then does this chunk need to be tightened up and be funnier, or do we like that it's a little more tender and slow? That was a lot of words that I just yelled at my computer screen. I hope they all made sense. Thank you to my hilarious actors and all yours.
All right, let's watch Spills by Ruthie Rado.
Spills, the Quar edit by Ruthie Rado. Setting, dude's sweet townhouse. After comparing negative COVID tests, dude, gal, and chick have been meeting, drinking, and planning a threesome for half an hour.
So back to this dude. How do you like know each other?
We're cousins.
She's kidding.
I'm fully kidding.
Okay, you like broke my brain for a second there.
But we fuck sometimes.
He is like a little brother to me, though.
Do you how do you know each other?
Our sisters are best friends.
Like that.
Oh, so like from childhood?
Yeah, I'd say so.
She used to beat me up.
But we were bros in high school.
And then on winter breaks and stuff in college, we started
getting it in.
Wow.
So I've been talking to you about this, and she wasn't down, and I was like, this is the perfect chick.
How serendipitous.
Silver lining of moving back home is the occasional mid-COVID threesome.
So you're living with family?
Mom, it's a hoot and a half.
Oh my God. Her mom is like Stevie Nicks.
Meets Marianne Williamson.
Wow, she sounds chill.
If you live in my house, Chicky Poo, you will rise with the sun and chant mantras with me. Not negotiable.
Your mom is a fascist hippie?
That's dead on.
The incense has soaked into my pores at this point.
I like it.
The militant Woodstock vibe is why I moved away for college. But then in March, there was this refrigerator truck full of bodies near my building, and our lease was ending, and I was working remotely anyway, so.
No, I totally get it.
I mean, it's fine. I'm honestly so lucky.
I feel the same way. I'm so lucky.
For sure. But it does suck, though.
God, it sucks so hard.
It's a waking nightmare.
Yeah, like not to downplay the stress of your mom at all, but.
Yeah, no, thanks. Drugs help.
Is that where you get your yogi vibe?
No, you have no idea. You remember when she dragged me to that pelvic bowl opening workshop?
Yes.
What?
It was me and a bunch of postmenopausal women rolling around on the floor, getting in touch with our pelvises.
And how was your pelvic bowl?
More closed than it should be, turns out. But I open as fuck right now.
How does one open one's pelvis?
Should I demonstrate?
Ooh, please.
Can we move the coffee table?
Yes, we can.
By we, they mean he. He moves it.
I'm gonna put this quilt down for padding if that's okay.
Cool.
Chick lays down, crotch to audience, gal does the same.
So lay down, put your feet on the floor.
Feels like a pap smear.
Exactly. Now rotate your pelvis in a circle.
Ooh, like this?
No, here, watch this.
Dude plays Enya on his phone.
Is this pelvis opening music?
Yeah. Shift your weight between feet and circle.
Okay. Is this better?
That's it. So circle with a deep inhale for 10 breaths. And then you switch directions for 10 breaths.
Is this like mad sexy right now?
In theory, it should be.
Join us. Loosen your pelvis.
Oh, will my anatomy allow it?
Probably. Break your dick and go sterile, you can totally litigate me.
Okay. So I just circle like this.
That's perfect.
Of course he's a natural.
I shouldn't be surprised.
Please, ladies, calm down.
Now, open your legs like a butterfly. If it's too much, you can flap your butterfly wings.
Gal flaps her wings.
How's your groin?
It's great.
Put your feet on the floor and breathe through your vagina. Or taint, I guess.
I don't know if I'm breathing through my vagina right.
Yeah, I've never tried breathing through my taint before.
Chick calmly kneels between them, puts a hand on each of their crotches.
Push your breath into my hand. And now, pull my hand in.
Oh, I feel it. I think I got it. If you want to just take your hand off.
I don't got it yet, Professor. I need your tutelage.
Are your pelvises open?
Oh God, I feel like amazing. You know, I can't believe you do that stuff with your mom.
It was awkward, but not out of the ordinary for us.
Is your whole family enlightened and graceful?
Yeah, that's funny. Graceful is a strong word.
She squats to sit down on blanket, picnic style. On her way down, she knocks over her glass of red wine. It spills across the quilt.
Oh no. Oh no.
Paper towels.
She scrambles to the kitchen, grabs a roll off the counter, tosses them to the dude, who begins blotting.
I'm Googling how to remove red wine stains.
Oh no.
Take a breath.
I'm so sorry.
Was that quilt like an important family heirloom?
My grandma made it.
Oh no. Is she gonna be upset?
Well, she's dead.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no. I mean, like, it's okay. She can't get upset. She's dead.
Dude finishes blotting the quilt.
The internet says that hydrogen peroxide in detergent on the stain. Just soak it up for an hour and then wash it.
Do you have hydrogen peroxide?
I do not. How about some ineffectual organic dish detergent?
Close enough, probably.
I'll give it a shot. Anyone want another drink? We have more boxed wine. Maybe we're good on the wine. Beer? Oh, I know what you want. The Millennial Special, vodka and LaCroix.
Why you gotta call me out like that?
Do you have a kombucha?
This is your lucky day. My roommate actually brews kombucha.
I thought I smelled scope. Dope. God, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I did that.
Hey, it's really okay. My grandma was a free spirit. She would have thought it was funny. I'm gonna let you choose the proportions on this.
He hands Gal the LaCroix, motions to the Grey Goose, and gives Chick a weird brown bottle that says Gary's Boot.
Really?
Totally. She was always saying, experience life. Don't worry about crap. Worry about people. My sister might be pissed. I sort of beat her out of the family heirloom grab for the quilt. But to reiterate, totally fine.
Isn't family great?
The best.
Did you say you have siblings?
No.
Oh,
Well, actually, not really.
what does that mean?
What's this? It's this whole thing.
You don't have to tell us.
Yes, tell us. I'm enthralled.
He caresses her, which is very persuading.
Okay. Oh boy, you know, I haven't told this to anyone really.
Do you need some Faber courage?
He offers her weed pen.
Okay. Yeah.
There you go, champ.
Oh God, where do I even start? You know, my dad is really old.
How old? I bet my dad's older.
77.
Fuck.
Mine's 73.
Mine's 68.
Hey, we're all in the old dads club.
So yeah, my dad's 77, but my mom's 55, and she was adopted, but always said like her parents are her real parents, even if they didn't birth her.
Of course.
But I was kind of curious, you know, if I have to worry about genetic diseases or anything. So I didn't tell my parents, but maybe 2 years ago, I took one of those mail order DNA tests.
Where you spit in a tube?
Mm-hmm. And to look at the results, you have to make an account on their website. So I had this account.
Did you find out about your mom?
Oh, yeah. Well, she's just hella British. Toodaloo. Well, and my dad is mostly Irish, but with 20% Slavic and like a hint of Jew. So like nothing surprising.
That's anticlimactic.
But the point of the story is like 6 months later, I got this message from this Vietnamese guy in his 40s. And apparently, if someone else who takes this test is related to you, you get linked to their account or whatever. And I was related to this guy pretty closely. And he had messaged me saying like, "Hi, I'm Huyen. I live in Seattle. My mom met an American sailor in Vietnam in the 70s, and she got pregnant. And she asked him to take her to the US, and he was like, no, and left. And she saved up and moved us to America and tried to find him until she died."
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I took this test just trying to find my father. Is he maybe your grandfather or uncle or something? The only thing I knew about him is that he had blue eyes, light brown hair, and an anchor tattoo on his arm.
And do you know his dad?
Well, this is my dad.
Sweet tattoo. Wait!
Holy shit.
Fuck.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Like I freaked out.
Yeah.
And when I talked to my therapist about it, because, you know, my dad has advanced dementia, and my mom is his caregiver and like gives him sponge baths all day basically, and he sometimes doesn't even know who I am. So like to say, "Hey dad, here's your son that you've never met who's almost as old as your wife," wouldn't even begin to make sense to him. And like, maybe this is not a valid reason, but for someone who like fathered an Asian love child, my dad is like Clint Eastwood level racist. Like, he used to be okay, but now with this dementia, we can't take him to an Asian restaurant because he'll say something awful. And so, what would happen? Hoon would fly out to Philly to meet his dad, and my dad would be like, "Who's this Charlie in my house?" Like, that has to be the worst thing that would ever happen to him. And like I said, I talked to my therapist about it. So
what did you do?
Well, I told him the website made a mistake and I deleted my account.
You did the right thing.
Yeah, you shouldn't feel bad. That was a lot to process.
I don't know. I saved his email address. Sometimes I look up flights to Seattle.
Huh.
I hope you meet him one day.
Yeah.
Thank you for bearing your soul to us.
Anyway, this was a long-winded way of saying that I'm sort of an only child.
My sibling drama seems kind of trivial in comparison, but I'm still low-key mad at my sister for trapping those dogs in her tiny-ass apartment.
What about your siblings?
Well, my sister Carolyn lives in New Carlton with her husband, Carlton, and they have a baby girl named Caitlin who's almost 1.
I bet you're the best uncle.
Humble brag. I'm the best uncle.
You totally are.
And they have this enormous dog named Keelan.
Keelan?
Yeah,
Who named their dog Keelan?
I think it's Irish.
I dated a Keelan in college.
Wait, and their daughter's name is Caitlin? Aren't the dog and the daughter going to be confused?
They'll be like, Caitlin, and the dog will be like, Boof.
Keelan, come here. The baby's like, here I come.
I never thought about it, but that is a really stupid way to name your dog and your kid.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. So anyway, my sister has a daughter and a dog, and they actually announced this week they're pregnant again.
Aww.
Yeah, and they're having a boy.
Oh no. Are they picking out baby names?
Caden. Oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have a class at 7 a.m.
Yeah, I have to go. I haven't packed yet, which is very unlike me. My cousin will kill me if I miss my flight.
Well, this is great.
Yeah, this was awesome.
Yes.
I have some time open next week if you guys are free.
I'll have to check, but yeah.
That'll probably work.
Have a good flight.
Oh, it's so early.
Chin up, kid.
Gal and dude kiss goodbye.
Later.
Chick hesitantly leads in. Gal hesitantly meets her. They kiss. They each slowly reach a hand toward dude. He slowly joins them. They all kiss as they move back into the living room. Clothes get loosened, making out in a pile.
Are we doing this?
Yes, I want to.
Yeah, let's do it.
Follow me.
Dude and chick exeunt.
Just give me 1 sec.
Gal sniffs her armpit and reapplies deodorant from her giant purse. She freshens up her crotch region with a pH balancing badge wipe. She hyperventilates. She rearranges herself on the furniture, trying to look sexy. And scene.
Whoa. Wow, that was something, Ruthie. Woo. All right, well, I'm gonna open this up. Any language, turns of phrases that stood out, any imagery strike you at all?
I'm breathing through my taint right now.
Oh, say.
Ooh, brought me back to drama school.
Oh my
It's like,
God,
I
middle
actually
class.
have breathed through my taint, but I'm gonna.
Your root chakra.
I'm gonna pretend I don't know how.
Oh my gosh. Ben, did you have a comment?
Yes, I do. Okay, so Ruthie, great writing. Second, that cast was killer. I would see this being on stage when this is over. Forget about being a digital show. This could be on stage when this is over. I mean, literally.
In
Miley
2
and
years,
Harry
yes.
together, amazing. Louis backing it up, amazing.
Thank
Absolutely brilliant.
Oh,
Absolutely brilliant.
Mandy.
Can I ask Ruthie, can you tell us a few details about what the plan is for the digital thing? Because Ben made me think I didn't quite understand the details when you were saying it. It might help me give feedback that'll be helpful.
Yeah. So basically it would just be a normal play, except that the audience isn't in the room. And there's a video feed of what's going on, except that it would be site specific as well. So it would be like an actual play in an actual living room. And you watch it via a live video feed.
So like a stream of a play, like us watching a play on any stage somewhere, or like a camera in the room while they're having a threesome?
A camera in the room while they're having a threesome, yes.
Okay.
Although the threesome ballet that follows this chunk is, it's not explicit. It's all in metaphor.
Guys, she just said threesome ballet.
It's all like churning butter and like beach volleyball.
Dead.
Durang would be proud.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Gotta use that pelvic bowl for something, huh? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Churn the butter.
Mark.
Yeah, Ruthie, it reminded me of Michael Weller a little bit. And you really captured these young people's, the casualness with which they discuss these things and just toss them off like my cousin, my this. Oh, yeah, but we hooked up. I mean, I thought you really had a flair for the tone and the characters of this era and this time. And I thought it just really resonated with not only great humor, but great truth.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah. Mandy.
So I let that sink in for just a second. And it's the biggest question that just popped in my brain was the idea that if it's a live stream and just knowing that there's a third that they're inviting into this, is she aware of the live stream? How does that affect what's going on if it's part of the plot?
Oh,
and thing.
Oh, never mind. They don't know that there's a camera there. Maybe there's fourth wall breaking like in the third act when there's audience interaction, TBD. But they don't know the camera is there. It's like I don't know.
It's not that meta.
Yeah,
fly on the wall.
Yes, fly on the wall. Exactly.
Got it. Okay, cool.
I was getting these images of like a pay-per-view event or something.
Me too. Which is great.
I mean, there's a little bit of that
I'm like,
vibe.
she's gonna make bank.
That almost makes me think like, because the audience could even be like, when you click a random link and it lands you somewhere, I mean, like, you really are asking the audience to hack into this person's laptop computer and watch this, like they can leave whenever they want, but they don't because they accept it to play. So I feel like maybe that's like a really sharp edge that you can like kind of flip it back on the audience and make us, you know what I mean? Because I love the immediacy of like trying to make that really work through Zoom and like using the camera itself as like part of the medium. It's like, oh shit, I'm watching this like home video about these people. Like,
I just imagined.
Oh my god!
I just imagined it like during the threesome ballet, if you will, just like turning to that filter where you see like the VHS numbers and stuff across the bottom, and it's just like a cut to.
You know what? If I would see the threesome ballet for sure. I mean, I feel like Louis, Biley, and Mary are perfect for that.
There's no nudity in the threesome ballet. It's all metaphors.
Ruthie, you should consider it.
All right, so let me
get back to New York so that I can talk the town.
Okay, Erin.
Not to get off the threesome ballet because I am here for the churning butter. But going back to what you had asked prior, you're like, oh, raucous hilarity before, raucous hilarity after, like a dipped moment. One, still really, really funny. But two, I think it was really nice to kind of get to know these people. And I'm like, oh, like her dad is Clint Eastwood level racist. And oh, her mom is like fascist Stevie Nicks, and like and his sister is getting like child number 2 and like all these weird names. It brought a humanity to it that I think grounds the rest of the comedy in a nice way. And it lets the audience take a breath and be like, oh, these are real people. Oh, now we can go back to laughing because this is like what's coming. And it makes the funny stuff even funnier.
David.
I'm not muted now. I love the fact that within the context, we know what they're there for. But it ends up that the foreplay is basically a regular, let's get to know people. I mean, it comes out that they start talking about their families, their background, their fathers. And that's what kind of connects them to the next moment where they're making out before they leave. They make the connection through that, even though, as I think it was Mark said, that they, the moment is defined by the threesome, and I'm not sure if Mark, maybe Mark didn't say this, but the fact that yes, that through what I consider was the foreplay, was the conversation, the getting to know one another, and that made that moment where they were saying goodbye and they leaned into the kiss and all of a sudden it became passionate, really so powerful.
Yeah. Mandy.
I did, in terms of the scene thing about structure, I agree. It's definitely still got humor to it, and I appreciate the breath between big laughs, even though I don't know what they are other than churning butter, which is so. I will say that it might have been pacing for what was hearing tonight in terms of a first read, but all three of them are giving some type of feedback or about themselves and things like that. And there was a similarity, I think, to each of those little arcs within this that I might have loved to see a little bit of variety, a little bit more variety, because there definitely is. I definitely saw Gal have a unique, right? Like she's the new one to this, and I saw that, but they did still feel like similar little, we're all giving in this similar energy way. Which made me question where the conflict was. All that saying, it might just be because it's the scene in the middle of the play, and I totally understand, but it was something I thought about.
Cool. I froze during that, but I'll go back and watch it on YouTube. Thank you, Mandy.
We'll have a drink later when Gab about it.
I thought you were just looking at her so intently, but yes, you didn't move at all.
I was a little concerned, but I was like,
she was just like, nice. All right. Well, we are going to move on to our third piece of the evening.
Go Benny D.
Benny D. Ben Dworkin's
Yes.
What About Life?
Ben Dworkin. Yep, I'm here. I'm here.
And joining in on Ben's piece will be Miley Binion, Jasmine Spees, Mark Huffmeyer, Chris Rothbauer, Sadiq Vaughn, Jennifer Downs, and Emily Mikesell on stage directions. So, Benny D, is there anything you would like to tell us about this piece to lead into what we're going to see?
Okay, so the piece you're about to see is a scene from a full length I'm working on called What About Life? What About Life is basically about a journey that I go on as I'm processing all the horrors of COVID going through my mind. And the scene you're about to see is David Adam Gill, Jasmine Spees, and Jennifer Downs taking me to my old classroom to play Jeopardy again with my old teacher, Mrs. Donegan. And it's going to be a slightly different game than what I did in fourth grade. And it's literally going to be funny. It's literally going to be hopeful. And it's literally going to be like, you're going to like it. And Scott, I hope you're watching this because it's going to be epic.
And just one question, is there anything you would like people to think about while they're watching this for our feedback session?
Well, I just would like to know if the dialogue is clear and how you think the story flows, and just if I'm getting better at my writing, because I'm really worried about my writing right now. And I just really want to hear it from all of you that my writing is fantastic.
Oh, so low stakes. Okay. So let's watch Ben Dworkin's piece, What About Life?
What About Life by Ben Dworkin. Scene 8. Lights up on narrator Ben as he enters from stage left and faces the audience.
You're probably curious to know about this game that I love, but I'm not actually going to be the one playing it. I have to guide you through the story. I can't do that if I play the game. So my actor version of me is going to play. So what are we playing?
Lights up on actor Ben as he is sitting down at a table and sees a Jeopardy board displayed.
Well, I love Jeopardy! You could say that me playing Jeopardy was the first step for me as I was becoming Benny D. There were a lot of steps, but let's just focus on the first.
Lights fade on narrator Ben. Actor Ben anxiously waits. David, Jasmine, and Jennifer enter from stage left and sit in chairs facing the board.
All right, guys, what is this? Why am I next to a Jeopardy board?
You'll see. Pay attention.
What?
Focus.
Mrs. Donegan, Ben's special education teacher, enters from stage right and smiles at the audience.
This is Jeopardy!
Mrs. Donegan sits at the table facing actor Ben. He is shocked to see her.
Mrs. Donegan!
Lights up on narrator Ben as he speaks.
Ah, yes, Tracy Donegan. She was one of the many teachers that has done so much to help me become who I am today. Well, even though a small portion of her ways of helping me were difficult, like teaching me to establish boundaries with people and persuading me to not watch violent material on television because it went to my head, I really enjoyed playing the game. But this game you're about to see is quite different. Observe.
Lights fade on narrator Ben, David, Jasmine, and Jennifer clapped in excitement. Actor Ben sighs.
Mrs. Donegan, I didn't expect to be doing this again. It's like the good old days.
Your friends called me here to give you a lesson on life.
By playing Jeopardy with me again?
You got it.
But
No questions. Just enjoy.
Mrs. Donegan displays index cards with the categories on them.
Okay, your categories are movies, the theater, Ben's journey, stuff that creates value.
Heck yeah, my favorite category.
And what would you say?
Actor Ben gets appalled by some of the categories.
You kidding me?
Nope.
Ah, you guys are so corny.
Play the game.
It's the only way you're going to learn.
Get to it, baby.
Actor Ben hesitates.
Okay, what would you say for 100?
Mrs. Donegan takes out the card from the 100 slot and reads it.
I'm curious about what you're up to, Jazzy.
Drew cannot make it to Jeopardy today, but Scott can play instead. What would you say?
A silence.
Okay, that is out of line. Drew's all grown up. He doesn't misbehave anymore.
Come on, we want to hear your answer.
He really is. He came to my birthday party.
Answer.
The room is silent.
I would say, okay, fine with me. Mrs. Donegan, I enjoyed that day you and Scott were contestants. I should have said, let's continue the trend. I watched that video over and over of us playing because it creates value. But I messed up the chance to continue that trend. I was just upset that Drew wasn't playing with us. I'm sorry.
You win!
David, Jasmine, and Jennifer clap in excitement. Mrs. Donegan hands actor Ben a fake dollar bill.
Really? Just trying to make up for my mistakes.
Come on, Ben, keep playing.
Oh, man. What would you say for 200?
Mrs. Donegan takes out the card from the 200 slot and reads it.
Jennifer does not want to hug you today because of COVID.
Actor Ben struggles a little.
You give the best hugs, Jen. I understand why you didn't want to. It's just that you were so sweet and I can never resist a hug from you.
Jennifer blushes.
You know I will always give you one after we get through this tough time.
Really?
She never lies.
Actor Ben breathes a sigh of relief.
I hold you to that promise, Jen. You're a great friend.
Should we give it to him?
David, Jasmine, and Jennifer hold their thumbs up and clap. Mrs. Donegan hands actor Ben another fake dollar bill. Scott runs across the stage and makes crowd noises. Actor Ben becomes startled.
Okay, that wasn't necessary.
Get with the spirit, Benny D. Joyful challenge.
Want to make Cindy proud, right?
You always call my mom by her first name. I hate it.
Calm down. Save the antics for later and play.
Fine. Stuff that creates value for 100.
Ooh, I wonder what these questions will be.
Mrs. Donegan takes a card out and reads it.
Does reading coronavirus vaccine articles minute by minute create value?
Yes, it does.
Everyone gasps, especially Jasmine, who gasps in complete shock.
Benny D, I can't believe you said yes to that.
You may think not, but I believe it helps me deal with it. I need to stay informed.
He shouldn't get credit, Trebek.
Mrs. Donegan gives a disappointing look and takes $1 away.
What? You never take away my dollars away during our games?
We're older. Rules change.
For Pete's sake, come on. Remember how we used to play Jeopardy in the past?
Actor Ben holds out his hand for the dollar, and Mrs. Donegan ignores him.
Of course. Pick again.
Stuff that creates value for 400.
You're jumping right to the bottom?
Like the old days, don't you remember?
That I remember.
Mrs. Donegan takes the card out of the 400 slot and reads it.
If you say so, you are the player. Being a huge part of New Ambassadors and all those arts organizations and not worrying about a grim future, does that create value?
Yes, it does.
Actor Ben stands up and walks over to David, Jasmine, and Jennifer.
Guys, I'm sorry if I do a lot of things that don't create value, but I'm just trying to make sure that I don't end up taking a step backwards and being in unsafe situations again. I don't want to face a world with less activities that I love to do or less people that I love around me. I have so much sleepless nights thinking about it. I am so uneasy with myself. You guys, I'm trying to be a better person.
Really should trust us when we tell you that we're not going anywhere.
You should trust that CNBC video you watched. The experts said that we will get on the other side of this virus. I know you worry that some things in your life may not make it till the end, but what matters is the things that do.
Your optimism is contagious, Peter Pan.
I've heard Peter Pan like almost 1,000 times.
Yeah, well, you'll hear it 1,000 more until you believe it. Do you know what you'll also hear 1,000 times more until you believe it?
What is that?
You are a great writer. Even during these difficult times, stop dwelling on the past. Think of where you are now.
You know, we really worry about you. It's like we don't know what to do for you.
You do a lot for me, Jazzy. It's why I call you Mama Jazzy, because you have such great empathy for me and you've helped me grow.
Jasmine puts her hand over her heart.
Thanks.
You all do so much for me. You really do.
And we always will, in good times and in bad.
Hey, you don't want to play anymore?
I'm not ready yet.
Actor Ben walks over to Mrs. Donegan.
Mrs. Donegan, I'm sorry for firing you. I shouldn't have. I loved how Scott said he missed the times that we were together. I didn't even realize it until now. We've had some bumps in the road. I've gotten in trouble with you, but you were the kind of person that I needed to get out of terrible situations. You've been a great asset to me.
I'm so glad you're finally realizing I was doing it for your own good. Do you really think you're at the end of this journey yet?
I don't know. Okay. Do I say that I'm trying to learn or do I have to keep playing?
You could keep playing.
Come on, Benny D. One more question, and then we're going to take you somewhere special.
Let's do it.
The room is silent. Actor Ben sits back down at the table.
Okay. Ben's journey for 100.
Mrs. Donegan takes a card from the slot and reads it.
Your journey is about to continue. Guess where you are going next.
I don't know.
Well, do you want to know or should we keep it a surprise?
Actor Ben gets up from the chair and walks over to David, Jasmine, and Jennifer.
Hey, I'll play along, but don't take me anywhere I'll feel uncomfortable.
We won't let you down.
David, Jasmine, Jennifer, and Actor Ben exit stage left.
I guess my work is done.
Narrator Ben enters.
You did well.
Thank you.
Narrator Ben gives Mrs. Donegan a high five.
Why don't you go backstage with the other players and take a breather? I'll let you know when you're needed again.
You got it.
Lights dim on Mrs. Donegan as she exits. Narrator Ben faces center stage.
Mrs. Donegan was a wonderful teacher. She is a good resource and a good friend. But now to a part of the journey I think you will want to pay close attention to. Check it out.
Blackout.
Ben.
Woo!
Beautiful.
Oh, God.
My God, Ben.
That was hilarious. That was hilarious.
Wow.
I am literally like about to fall out of my seat.
Oh, because you were laughing so hard?
No, because the acting was so great.
Oh,
That was fantastic.
well,
I didn't even have to be in person to see it, you know?
well, let's open up the floor to some feedback for you.
I can't wait to hear this.
I agree. Who would like to go first? Josh.
So Ben, I've been almost a year now. I've been seeing your work, and I've had the honor that you've asked me to be part of some of your material as well. And I have to say, David's classes are really paying off because you just keep thriving and you keep blossoming. And I envy you. I wish I could be as good of a writer as you, because I am nowhere near that. and just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing so well, and I had a big grin on my face the entire time. You couldn't see it, but I'm super proud of you.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes, Luis.
So I thought that like one of the great things that was so successful in this piece was that you in like so few words were able to speak to right to the heart of what we're all going through right now. And I feel like that's what every writer really strives to do, you know? And like we put like plots and like situations and all that kind of stuff, but I just thought it was so simple and so honest, you know, like a true insight into you, but also reflecting back on us. Because every time you ask the question, I don't know about everybody else, but I was asking, what would I say in that moment? You know, and I was having this conversation in my head, like, what would it be? And then hearing your response was so natural. Like the bit about how when we get through this, we're all gonna like come out of this like at like a cannonball, you know, just like explode onto the scene because we.
That is a promise, Louis. That is a promise, Louis.
And I just, yeah, man, I lost my train of thought, but that's. It was amazing.
You and I are spending time together.
Thank you for writing.
You and I are spending time together.
Max?
There's such a wonderful intimacy and honesty to this piece. And it feels like a true gift to be led in on this personal journey. It's enormously touching. It really is. Thank you, Ben. I loved it.
It has, I want to piggyback on what Max just said. And Ben, you and I have been in writing class together with David and Jasmine and Devin, Alex Sumner, sorry, Devin, and Sadiq, among a few others who are not here this evening. And again, I am touched by the realness, as Max was saying, the truth of the perspective that you have and your ability to convey what that is. I can't imagine, and I've even tried my hand at writing. I can't even imagine what that entails to write, you know, so that people can see an entirely different perspective, to see a situation through completely different eyes, and yet be able to walk away knowing what they saw. And I think your ability to do that is an incredible gift that you have. So that's what I would say. I think it's awesome. Mandy?
I just want to say that one thing I find hard as a writer, and I've heard that others do, is really accepting when something's good and knowing that that little voice in your head is right. And you know, I'm thinking back to times, Ben, when you were first getting started, and I remember how scared you were. I remember that first day a year ago and how nervous you were about trying something brand new and being so brave. And for you to come out here this time and be like, tell me it's terrific. And like, I mean, it is, it's got so many things. And on top of that, you're continuing to write and grow and take criticism. I can think of many writers who are good, but not great because they don't learn how to do that, Ben. And I'm proud of you for that. Okay. Good for you, Ben.
Thank you, Mandy. I miss you, Mandy.
I miss you too. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, I remember my popcorn moment, if I may.
Yes,
Which was when the question was things that add value. And you referenced the new ambassadors. And I was like, that is exactly the kind of thing that brings value to my life right now, you know?
Of course it does, Louis.
And I just felt it was very like breaking the Brechtian wall, you know, of like inciting people to action, you know? And I thought that was like, it makes me want to like come back next week, dude, and like keep coming and keep writing and just soldier on, you know. And I loved that about it because it got me jazzed to write more stuff and create, you know.
Then write. No one's stopping you.
David.
Right, you're right.
You know, Ben, every time we God, I'm so moved by it, Ben. I really am. And every time you present it and we talk about it, you add just a little bit more that makes it so much more personal. The simplicity of your message, the way you use words, and I've told you this, that conveys so much. The way you set up a scene with the dialogue, it creates it's so riveting. It's so riveting. And the other thing is, and on top of the game, the Jeopardy game that you use as a tool to tell this section of the story, I still love the fact that you have a narrator, Ben, who's been through it, but won't give the audience any information because actor Ben has to struggle. And it's so clever and so well crafted. I'm so proud of you. And again, it just moves me every time I read something of yours now. It hits my heart, man. Congratulations.
All I needed to hear.
Really.
Awesome. You're doing really brave work, buddy. Really brave work.
Thank you, Jasmine. You helped me get started with it, you know.
Yeah, so it's a lovely piece.
Bravo.
Were there any other comments before we move on?
Can I say something?
Yes.
Sorry.
Jennifer and John.
I was just gonna say that
sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go.
No, actually, you just said it yourself, Ben. Like you were there with me through this, Jazzy. I love so much of what you've done with the structure for the different scenes that I've seen from this, Ben. And I think it's such an honest piece. It's such a specific perspective. And as Louise said earlier, it's something that connects with, you know, it's your unique perspective. It's deeply honest, but it's something everyone can connect with. And then when you just said, you know, and you've been there with me, Jazzy, I love that you folded this network of people that I know have been, like, they were all present in the scene. I was really touched by that. And like the struggle, like even a popcorn moment for me, I'm getting emotional talking about it actually.
Yeah.
Is when you said, Jen, I'm sorry that I wanted to hug you and you couldn't hug because of COVID. And you said, I understood that. And that moment was really deeply touching to me because I know that you personally do need support, you know, with us, you know, as friends, talking to you, but also the physical contact. So to see that in the piece really moved me. And I just think you're doing great work, and it's incredibly brave. I'm repeating things other people have said, but you've made huge strides. You should be so proud. I'm very touched by it.
Jennifer and John, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Ben, this is awesome. And one thing that jumped out at me is just how this piece really utilizes the power of theater. How you've got so many cool things going on, the narrator Ben versus the actor Ben, and that you're sort of exploring things with the two parts of your mind and opening that up and opening us up into it so that we can really receive these incredibly sincere moments that are just so beautiful to watch, and playwrights worked for a long time to achieve. Got it. So great work.
Wow. Well, that was a pretty overwhelming piece. Congratulations, Ben, and all the feedback that you received. This is really, really awesome. Really great job. And, can I open this up now to our fourth play of the evening? And this is going to be a piece that was written by Mandy Murphy. Mandy.
I'm here.
With Nick Stauffer, Peyton Edwards, and stage directions by Devin Allen Sumner. Is there anything that you would like to say to lead us into your piece? And also, is there something that you would like people to focus on and be thinking about as they watch this to give you in their feedback session after?
Sure, thank you, Jen. Real quick, we actually had some last minute additions, so I'm gonna like reintroduce and add a couple too. Gentlemen, come on in. So the ones Jen already sweetly said, Peyton Edwards is playing Michelle. Wave at the audience, Pay. Nick Stauffer is playing Mike. Wave at the audience, Nick. No one knows who you are.
Yeah, hey, I'm Nick.
Chris Rothbauer is playing Steve. Sadiq Vaughn is playing Man. There he is. And Devin's reading my stage directions. Yeah, so full disclosure, I'm doing something I've never done before. I am trying my hand at a pilot and trying my hand at sitcom-y comedy. So like Ruthie said earlier, if in YouTube land and in Zoom land, anytime there's a haha laugh moment, obviously that's the hardest thing about writing something new, is knowing if it's funny. Tell me if it's funny, and you can tell me if it's not funny too. I also appreciate the difference between a ha and a ha 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 ha. So let me know. I'm not going to dive in anymore because it is the pilot, so I feel like you shouldn't know more before that, or I'm not doing my job right. Cool.
Excellent. Well, let's all watch Mandy Murphy's The Pod.
The Pod, pilot by Mandy Murphy. Exterior, New York City apartment building, fall 2020 day. Quirky intro melody. Mike sits on the railing of a flower bed that is way too small to sit on without your ass immediately hurting, smoking a cigarette, his mask pulled under his chin, swiping on his phone. Michelle stands in front of him, mask on, searching through her phone.
Nope. 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 And nope.
Word is lost all meaning.
Nothing. There's nothing.
Nothing?
Nope.
New word, please.
Not since that 22-year-old Joe Bro loving pansexual.
Oh yeah, her.
Nope.
What? Oh, Jesus.
Stop even thinking about it. Get those pervy thoughts out of your head.
What? She seemed nice.
Name one Joe Bro.
Mike stares blankly and takes a drag from his cigarette.
She's too young for us.
Okay.
What?
But I didn't say anything.
You think I'm being too picky?
Mike shrugs. Michelle notices someone walking their way.
Oh, fuck. Incoming.
What, now?
Yes, now.
Man walks up to Michelle, not wearing a mask. He doesn't notice Mike.
Hey, girl.
Hi.
Man takes a step closer to her, checking her out.
Damn, you look fine as hell today.
Oh, 6 feet.
Michelle awkwardly gestures at the space between them.
Really taking that shit seriously, huh?
I know. Grr, rules. LOL.
Those leggings are nice.
Yeah. I've been wearing them for 10 days, right, babe?
Michelle awkwardly plops onto Mike's lap, knocking his you-know-whats and adding to the uncomfortable...
Oh, shit. Hey, man.
Hey.
Y'all still together, huh?
Yeah, we are quarantine lovies.
How could I resist?
They make out, rubbing their faces together. Hers masked, his not. Man looks at them oddly. The kiss ends.
All right, y'all.
Have a good one.
Yep.
Man exits. They watch him go.
And break.
Michelle gets up.
Good work, team.
Mask on and everything this time?
Because we're just so in love. How are your nuts?
Yeah, well, landed right on the left one.
Can't believe anyone thinks I'd date you. Gross.
Hey, at least I change my pants every day.
No, you don't.
Huh, no, I don't.
Dude, we really need to find a roommate.
Mike takes his last drag on his cigarette, and they head into the apartment building. Cut to New York City apartment, day.
So any hot leads or?
Still nothing.
I have 6 matches, if that makes you feel better.
Since 30 minutes ago?
What? Quarantine makes people horny.
You pronounced desperate wrong.
Judgy.
I can't believe Cuomo didn't just shut Tinder down.
Mike doesn't look up from his phone.
Oh my God.
I know, you're so right.
No, look at this.
What?
Read this.
What?
This, read it.
What is it?
It's my ass. Just freaking read it.
Wow. All right.
Mike takes the phone from Michelle and begins to read silently to himself.
Out loud?
Mike mumbles to himself so that only he can understand what he's saying.
To me.
You want me to read your messages to you?
Oh my God. Can men really only do one thing at a time? Just read it out loud so I can hear you. Out loud so I can hear you.
Mike clears his throat.
Hi, Michelle. Name Steve. I'm interested in the room that's available. Seat prospects.
Keep reading.
Okay. Great pics. And the room doesn't look bad either. Winky face. Would love to come by and look at the place, get to know each other better. How about this evening? Wait, what?
Yep.
Is this Tinder?
I don't have the apps, Mike.
Still.
I plan to meet somebody the old-fashioned way.
How's that working out for you?
Really? Rude. Look, I guess I could always date
Michelle takes her
Steve.
phone and reads it.
Actually, Steve isn't half bad.
Let me see.
Michelle shows Mike Steve's picture. He's bald with no facial hair.
Are you joking? You're joking.
I wouldn't kick him out of bed.
He looks like a Guess Who character. He looks like a fucking sociopath.
Oh, how do you gather that, Obi-Wan?
Can't grow hair on your head? Grow it on your face. Shave your face, sociopath. And look at his face, he thinks he looks good.
Yeah, he does.
So this is not a dating app.
This is not a dating app.
This is a roommate finder app.
Yeah, the official one that I paid for.
And this guy is...
Yeah, he's trying to fuck.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I mean, maybe we could at least let him come look at the place.
Oh, no. If you can't have Joe Bro, if I can't have Joe Bro, you can't have Mr. Clean.
Mike pauses, cringing at what he said.
I'd let him clean.
No.
What? I'm horny.
Desperate.
Oh, same thing.
No. You know what? No. It's guys like this that make to fuck it up for the rest of us. I'm serious. Like, I can't message a girl just saying, hey, without her thinking all I want to do is have sex.
Cut to interior New York City apartment, Mike's bedroom night. Mike is talking to a friend through a Zoom call. Without missing a beat, his rant continues. He's obviously given this speech before.
And then I'm just some creepy dude messaging who will talk to me, or somebody who just talk to me because they look hot. You know why? Because of butt white assholes like this.
Cut to interior New York City bodega day. Mike is ranting at the guy at the bodega counter while buying cigarettes.
I hate them. You know what I'm talking about.
Cut to exterior New York City Park day. Mike is on a picnic date with a lady. They sit 6 feet apart on a blanket, masks on with some array of booze between them.
And they fuck it up for the rest of us. It's bullshit.
So have you been tested?
Cut to New York City, interior New York City apartment day. Back in the apartment with Michelle. She watches him wide-eyed.
No. I won't allow it. Do not message that guy.
Wow. Okay.
I'm serious.
I hadn't noticed.
It's not okay.
No, you're right. It's creepy. He's creepy. Okay. I hear you.
Thank you.
Cut to interior Mike and Michelle's apartment morning. It's the next morning. Mike exits his bedroom with his robe on, headed for the bathroom. We hear him pee, then flush. He comes out of the bathroom where he's met head on with the naked Steve.
Oh shit, my bad, bro.
Mike just stares at him.
Bathroom?
Mike points to the bathroom.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
Michelle exits her bedroom in a t-shirt without pants, drinking a Pedialyte. Mike glares at her.
Desperate.
Don't be mad.
Bad.
Look, I sat on his face like the whole time. He could have been anyone.
Bad.
The end.
Stay on, what do I do?
Bad. Oh my gosh, I'm dying.
I thought of something I forgot to say that I feel like is important. I'm trying to write a Quibi style, so like 5 to 10 minute, 25 episode series. That's why it's so short.
I was like, wow, how much time was it? Whoa, that went really fast.
Yeah. The shorter things are harder for me to write. I don't know about other people, but they're really hard.
All right. Well, let's talk about what we thought about Mandy's piece, and starting off with any popcorn moments or thoughts that you had. And did you think it was funny? Ruthie.
Yes, I thought it was very funny and great, really tight. My one thing that I would love to just point out at the end is, I don't know if the male roommate is like worried about COVID. I guess he wasn't as much. Am I frozen? But I sat on his face.
You broke up. Start again. You said you didn't know if he was. No, it's okay. I lost you at, you didn't know if the male roommate was concerned about COVID.
Yes. But if he were, then that ending button of like, I sat on his face the whole time, so he couldn't even breathe his like particles into the air or something.
Oh.
There might be something there. Anyway, that's it.
I love you so much.
Oh my God. All right.
A lot of vagina breathing tonight.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh. Other popcorn moments, as it were? What did you think was funny? What did you think could be more funny, or was too funny? Or Chris?
I think the funniest bit to me is when he's doing the same speech at 4 different locations. I think that's a bit that really works. I when we read in the breakout rooms, I could have just turned my mic on and laughed through the whole thing, honestly.
Yeah, I loved seeing I'm with you, Chris. I loved seeing the juxtaposition of him ranting. And so I'm going to rant at the person behind the bodega, and I'm going to rant at the woman I sit next to on the bench. And I just thought that was hysterical. And I also thought it was very funny when we are met with the situation that said female roommate has had a male visitor over the past evening, and you came on sans shirt. It was a very funny bit, in my opinion. Anybody else? Yes, Ben.
Mandy, I love you with all my heart, and I love all your writing. I love all your writing, and you're trying to write a pilot and you're doing well with it. It's about COVID. I know, which is not a surprise, but
We're trying to find moments to laugh. Did you laugh, Benny boy?
yeah, I did.
Good, good, good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, your writing is so great every time I see it,
Thank you, sweet friend. Tell me what you thought was funniest.
All of it. All of it.
Oh, you had a moment you liked. What'd you like?
Did you get tested yet?
Oh, my line? Oh, okay.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully we could get past like this whole thing, it's just like, yeah.
You bet, Beba. Thank you for telling me that. Thank you for your feedback.
Jennifer.
Yeah, I definitely agree that I loved the rant, not only because it's kind of like a classic comedy moment, but also because of the shift of when he's saying it with a mask on and when he's saying it with a mask off. I really like that kind of mask choreography that's happening throughout the piece, even from the beginning with someone with it here and smoking a cigarette and the other person with it here. And I feel like because you're going for short, episodic kind of things, I think that's an opportunity to even punch those jokes up further. So to either call attention to it or kind of make it like an absurd aspect to it, the like kind of choreography of the mask. Like I think that's an opportunity to have like a running physical joke through the whole piece. Play with that.
Thank you. There was 1 minute or 1 second that I had a huge typo that Devin did his best with that I just want to make, can I ask and see if this was clear? Jen, is that okay?
Yeah.
Because it ties both Jens, both of you with what Jen is saying. So when the guy shows up, when Sadiq's character shows up, she has her mask on, and when they're doing their thing, they make out, and she has the mask on.
Yeah, that was clear to me.
Okay, good.
And I felt like that was a moment of like high absurdity with the mask. And I feel like it's just so ripe for it, and it's so much a fabric of the world that you don't always fabric, cotton fabric, thick cotton fabric of the world, that I feel like there's an opportunity. You don't always have to spend as much time on it as you do with like the makeout, which I think is perfect and so funny, but even to heighten even the small moments of it, I think is a good punchy quality to it.
I hear you. That's great. Thank you.
David, did you want to say something?
You're muted.
God damn it. No. I was trying to think of the moments that I thought were the funniest, but it was actually pretty consistently funny. The extended rant I thought was brilliant. Chris's character coming out, God bless you, Chris, without his sweatshirt on was really funny. But I do agree, we all have this kind of choreography with the masks that we do when we're walking down the street. Can we lift it up? We see someone, we know that they're like maybe at least 20 feet away, and that's when we pull it up, and we know exactly where to put it on our chin and all this stuff. We have that MO. And so I do agree that it's a great opportunity to kind of utilize it and make it as absurd as it probably is if you're an alien coming down and looking at the world as it is today. But really great characters. They were very strong. I love the little encapsulations of each of the scenes. It was just great. It was really good. I was engaged the entire time.
Thank you.
If I can just piggyback on what David said, because I'm just going to piggyback on everybody's comments tonight. I don't want to think of my own. But to tie into what Jennifer Downs said as well about the mask choreography, which is now a new term, I think, the pandemic. I also have this idea that it might also be something, that maybe is a character thing. So it's a specific, do you know what I mean? So that it could either be in the choreography of the masks of everybody at different points in time, or it could be focused on a single character, you know. So I think you have so many different options with the mask dance or whatever. So I think that that's really a funny thing to investigate. Yeah.
I don't know what you mean when you say talking about a big group, or can you be a little more specific with me? If it's if it's like
I basically,
like you're being too prescribing, don't worry about it. Just tell me.
I just think that there are so many options for going even deeper into the humor of the juxtaposition with COVID, which everything's funnier with COVID, right? That it could be funny if the mass choreography is seen with everyone, or if it is specific to one person. Whereas you see one person in one scene and it's here, and you see one person in another scene and it's here, and then you see one person in another scene and it's here. So it could be something that's specific to one person who is the mask person, even though everybody's masked, but everybody wears it. Or it could be something that is pervasive throughout the cast. I was really trying to just open up the doors for more humor, and I have mired and enmeshed myself in nondescript.
I think what she's trying to say is that, like, even with the quick cuts and like the smash cuts you're trying to do, it's like you can, if you're focused on like the faces or everyone's in the scene, it's like someone has their mask here, you know, and someone has their mask here, then it's
So even if it's like someone in the background, there's still mask dances going on. Is that what
yeah,
you're saying?
like someone has it hanging off their ear. I think what she's trying to say, and then someone's talking and it's down here when it was in the scene before, it was up here, and it's like moving on people's faces.
Right. And I was just saying that it could be that way, or it could be something specific to one character.
Yeah.
There's ways to play with either of those.
That's lovely insight. Yeah,
It's a lot funnier in my head. I don't
No, that's great. I was trying to hint at that already for the person who, you know, the person who always wears their mask, but it's always under their chin. And it's like, would you put the damn thing?
Yeah, someone has it below their nose and you're just like, come on.
Yes.
Droplets.
That's great. Thank you guys.
Anyone else? Yes, Mark.
Mandy, I had a thought. If this pilot were for network television, as in CBS, NBC, you know, where expletives could not be, you know, how would you rewrite the rant? Because I loved it. And I was just thinking as I was listening to it, like, if this was like, what words would you, I mean, you could come up with all these like creative swear words that weren't, you know, that wouldn't be bleeped out. Now you may have this like intended for like Netflix or whatever. I'm not suggesting one way or the other. It just occurred to me, and I thought that might be really funny if this guy was like finding all these other ways to, in this rant, to all the different people that to curse them out, you know, but it wasn't expletives.
Well,
I don't know. It just hit me, but I loved it. I loved the rant, and it was just one of many things that struck me as very funny. But
Thank
anyway.
you. If ABC buys it, I'll make those all day.
You can do it like the Sandra Bernhard scene in Will and Grace, like every like the blender goes off every time she says fucking, you know.
Exactly.
I just came back from a retreat with Julianne Moore and Deepak Chopra.
Good.
That was a funny bit.
Yeah.
Make it live.
Dark suggestions going on in the chat.
Anyone else, or shall we move on to a little Bronte sister action?
Oh God.
Oh,
can I ask one question? Yes. I don't know where we're at for time, but I just know it was shorter. So if I can soak up all the feedback, because
I got 9 minutes and 35 seconds for you.
Queen. Okay, I probably won't take all that. So 2 questions, which you may have tipped on, but just if you have thoughts. One, do you want to know more, or does it feel kind of general at this point? Like, are you excited for the next episode? You can be totally honest with me. And the second question is, what do you think about the two of their relationship? What do you think the nature of their relationship is? Yep.
David?
Sorry, Jen.
I do want more, and I was thinking about that. I there's something nagging at me, and I think it's nagging at, is his name Mike too? About her. I feel as though their relationship is it is one-sided in terms of romantic, or at least wanting to be romantic. That's what I got out of it, and which is the reason for the rant. I don't think it was necessarily about a guy who's screwing up for other guys. I think he's not the guy who's going to get screwed.
Can I ask if there were any specifics in that, or if you think it's just subtext?
Gosh, I'd have to hear it again. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, that's
but
fine.
It was definitely in there. It was definitely in there for me.
Okay.
And the way that your actor read it, your cast is great.
Devin?
Oh no, I think Carla was before me. Carla can go.
Carla?
Oh, yeah, no, I was gonna say I definitely want to see more. And when it ended, I was like, oh, so because we didn't know it was a shorter format, but I think for what your aim is, having a shorter format, I thought it was like really, like David had said, consistently funny, incredibly well paced. It was like fast and funny, and I wanted more. So, and then as far as their relationship dynamic is concerned, yeah, like I got sort of an undercurrent of, and I didn't think it was necessarily one-sided though. I could see why David would think that, but yeah, I think there might be something budding there romantically that is to be developed. Again, given the sort of like, you know, horn dog aspect that is established, tippy top, as well as COVID, right? Like our options are limited. So yeah. So I'm curious to see where that goes.
Can I say what I thought? I watched this, and early on in the beginning, and this might just be difference in personalities, I have a bent toward the jaded, which I hate. But when I saw it, I was like, oh, these two are endgame. I don't know why. I was like, they're roommates and something is set up for them to be together. And whether it's going to be an Elaine Jerry thing, or it's going to be, you know, a moonlighting thing. You remember moonlighting? Or, you know, something, you know, a Diane and, you know, from Cheers or whatever. I was just like, there's something set up there, and whether it's going to be how it ends, or, I mean, I know I said end game, I just wanted to be colloquial, but whether or not that's how the overall story ends, or whether it happens, I got the feeling that there's going to be some shagging somehow, whether it's a mistake, whether they're drunk, whether they're whatever, that they fall into it together. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know exactly why, but I just got that feeling.
And she's off the apps, right? She's no longer on the apps. So her options are super limited.
Oh no.
I feel like Mike's next rant is like, why does a guy have to be gay to live with a woman in New York? You know, it's like people need roommates, and you know.
Does he though?
No, just saying, he goes on a rant like, how could you live with a girl and not fuck her? You know.
Oh, poor
you know,
Mike.
one of those rants, and he goes, why do I have to? He's like, I can live with a woman without, you know.
I got the feeling that they're in their 20s. Yes? No? Sure. What?
A man and a woman can be friends.
Yeah, I was like, oh, they're in their 20s.
Jennifer has her hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jen.
I was just going to say, well, John just said to me that it was possibly because of the influence of Ruthie's piece, but that for the first page, he thought that they were a couple looking for a third.
There you go, Mandy.
Mandy.
But it's a roommate.
I honestly, I kind of see that, like in retrospect, I'm like, oh yeah, I could have seen that. For me, it definitely felt almost like exes that were friends, but like over the years, one has moved on and one hasn't. That's kind of how it felt. But I don't know. I'm very interested. I feel like a lot of the comedy is coming from the situations, and then that like undercurrent of the two of them is what I would go to the next episode to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His energy reminded me like Nick Millery energy of that
From New
frustration
Girl.
bubbling out in rants, and I love that.
Yeah.
And also spoke to the relationship potential for me.
I just got a text. Sandra. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Please.
No, that's okay. I found it. I thought it was very funny. I especially liked the woman's line about, well, maybe we should just check him out after she had gotten so upset about what he had said. But I'm interested in their backstory, some part of a short about their backstory more than I am interested in moving forward during this time. And I would love to see a rant with him with the mask on and people not understanding what he's saying. So that was.
Oh my God, that's
you are so right. That's gold.
I don't want to. Oh my gosh, that was
God.
What's the character on South Park who you never understand what he says?
His name is Kenny.
Oh, Kenny.
Kenny. Woo!
You killed Kenny. All right. Anybody else? Let's gear up for the Bronte sisters.
Thank you, crew. Appreciate you.
Well
And
done,
there-
Mandy.
And there
Go
is
Packers.
there is a link to the feedback form that is just on the chat right now. So please fill that out if you are so inspired. And our last piece of the evening is My Greatest Enemy, exclamation mark, by David Adam Gill, with Carla Briscoe, beautiful Carla, Josh Hemphill, I don't know where Josh,
He'll be back. He'll be back.
he'll be back, Jennifer Downs, Sandra Paris, and Stage Directions by Emily Mikesell. David, is there anything you would like to say about this piece before it starts? And are there any specific ideas you want people to keep in the back of their minds as they watch this for your feedback session?
Okay, I just threw up in my mouth a little. So this was a tough one. Some of you might know I've written two other Bronte themed pieces, one based on Jane Eyre, one based on Wuthering Heights, Charlotte Bronte, Emily Bronte, and this is based on a novel by Anne Bronte, who, when it came out, was wildly successful, but her sister Charlotte didn't approve of the subject matter, and after Anne died, she refused to reissue, to publish it again. So what I tried to do with it is tell the story that's within the novel, and then you'll see what happens after that. I guess the thing I want to know most, because it's really just a very, very, very rough, raw first draft, is if you can follow it or if it is confusing. And that's about it. It's going to start from the beginning. It's probably about half to 3/4 of the way finished where we're going to stop. And this cast is phenomenal, and I'm so pleased to have them do this, and I'll leave them to it. I should have bought more than one beer tonight.
All right, and here is My Greatest Enemy by David Adam Gill. Enjoy.
My Greatest Enemy by David Adam Gill. The sitting room of a lady's bedroom suite. A young woman, Helen, her arm in a very pretty sling, sits at her desk in the process of writing a letter. She cannot focus, though, and standing, begins to pace up and down in nervous anticipation.
It is time. It is time. Oh, where can my dear friend be?
Helen pads quietly to the door, unlocks it, and looking out, calls quietly,
Rachel! Rachel! Oh, be cautious, Helen, though the villain has passed out from drink. He's an uncanny hearing and may start awake at the sound of your voice and ruin your plans of escape yet again.
Helen shuts the door quietly and is about to lock it when there is a sharp knocking.
Rachel!
'Tis I. Yes, my angel.
Helen opens the door, revealing an old woman, Rachel, who has a look of terror on her face. She enters, pushes the door shut, and leaning against it for support.
Oh, my lady, I tremble from every limb.
Sit, dear friend.
Rachel plops herself down in a chair, catching her breath.
How trying to the nerves it is to be sneaking around corners and bumping about hallways, encumbered by all those boxes with the scoundrel, your husband, cockeyed and supine in the study, an empty bottle his sole comfort.
That tyrant wine, it is the cause of all my sorrow.
It is so, but not solely, lest you forget the pleasures of the flesh are just as intoxicating a vice for that man. Oh, heaven help me.
Heaven help him, indeed.
First with that dolly mop Annabella.
Rachel.
Lady Lowbarrow, if you wish. Though I hesitate to call that a lady which paraded her dalliance with your husband so bold-faced as to torment you.
And yet, unaware of my enlightenment, he too would mock me with the empty husk of conjugal endearments. Oh, Arthur, that pretense was the beginning of the end of my affections towards you.
And now this so-called governess he employs, who is less a governess than I am, who has never been educated and knows nothing.
How has it come to pass that a man who just recently I loved so tenderly, I presently have not even the most distant shadow of esteem for?
His sun has set. He has brought it on himself.
I hate him. Oh, the word stares me in the face like a guilty confession. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him.
As do I. But then, you know, I never fully warmed to the brute, though he did his best to charm me at first. Once he began the treachery of his abuse, I know not how you've borne up. That man became my greatest enemy. I would kill the ogre in a thrice and gladly hang for it. Oh, but for the thought of parting from you and that dear little one forever.
I ask no other vengeance than that he's made to see and feel his guilt.
I fear he will remain blind and numb forever, for his vices have mastered him too well.
I blush and I weep and I pray and I curse and I repent, but I am resolved to leave my husband. Forevermore I see the worst effects of a night's debauch increase his irascibility and sullen ferocity towards me.
And what of little Arthur, with all of his sweetness of disposition?
My joy, my only consolation. I could continue to bear up myself, for I've lost my instinctive horror and repulsion, but I see the effect his father has on my little moralist, and I fear I will lose him to the influence of his father's wild caprices if I do not remove him immediately.
And so you shall.
And what of our things? Did you succeed, Rachel? Are the boxes safely transported out of this prison and gone ahead to await my arrival at Wildfell Hall?
Indeed, my love, to await our arrival.
My dearest and only friend, we have discussed this. I cannot live as a lady anymore. I have little to my name, and though my brother has given me a small allowance, I cannot afford to pay you what you are worth, which is a treasure of inconceivable value, for such is the debt I owe you.
Oh, fiddle! Where am I to go if not with my young lady, who I nursed from an infant and who I've been with all these many years, and happy too? No, I have my own small savings set aside if it be needed, but I will not start anew with a family of strangers while my heart exists elsewhere.
Then you must retire somewhere. You're an old woman who deserves some peace and quietude in her later years, when all I can offer is trouble and want.
I'm not so old, but what I can stand hard work. Besides, who will cook and clean for you and the little master?
I'm very capable of cooking and cleaning.
I won't have it. You are a lady, and if you was as poor as Job's turkey, the matter is settled. Let's hear no more of it.
Helen rushes to Rachel and embraces her with violent affection.
You are as dear to me as my own heart, my own soul.
As you are to me, my sweet child.
They embrace again.
Well, I am so glad we have settled that business.
As am I, my loyal co-conspirator. Now I will finish the few letters I've begun with more fortitude, while we hearten each other up to mutiny.
Helen sits down at the desk and takes up her pen. Just then, the sound of a wild Moorish wind is heard, and the candles flicker and go out.
Oh!
What pendulum is this now?
That eerily out-of-place squall must have extinguished the candles. Quick, Rachel, light them again so that I may finish this final correspondence to my poor aunt, whose warnings against Arthur's character went unheeded. I hope she does not judge me too harshly.
Oh dear.
Rachel hurries to relight the candles, but bangs into a chair which falls loudly to the floor.
Oh, fiddle!
Quiet, Rachel, lest you wake the sleeping beast.
Sorry, my lady. I'm all turned around in this pitch blackness. Oh, it's such a chill suddenly. Here we go.
When the room is illuminated, we see another woman, Jane Eyre, standing center.
What's this? Who is this lady? And how did she get in here?
Sister, you are wrong to leave your husband.
Sister? Have I gone mad, or am I seeing visions? The lady is still in front of me. Oh, it must be madness.
Forgive me, but have we met before?
Do you not recognize me? I am your sister, though you could call me your brother, and that moniker would be just as apt.
Brother, you're bound to make a stuffed bird laugh.
The strange sounding wind again, though softer, change of lighting.
Strange, but I feel I do know this apparition. Yes, I see. She is my sister, Charlotte.
Or brother, Currer, whichever you prefer.
Brother, sister. Oh, I now know for sure I am mad.
Turning to Helen.
It was them that weaned you and reared you from swaddling clothes, and I swear by your sainted mother, this lady, or gentleman, if she prefer, she had neither nursery nor breast.
Our nursery was in Yorkshire, and our shared breast was that of poor dear Nancy Wainwright.
Who found her sad end in the Bradford workhouse. I do remember.
Then you will no doubt remember also what comes of a woman who flouts convention.
Oh?
I submit this entire endeavor of yours will be an unfortunate mistake.
I see now why you've come. Your opinion is not sought after, sister.
Still, I insist that you hear me out. It is from a sense of feminine fellowship I come to counsel you. Tell her, Mrs. Fairfax, that I am not wrong here.
Mrs. Fairfax? You are mistaken, Spirit. I am not such a woman other than my lady's faithful Rachel.
You have come too late to sway me from my objective, though coming sooner would have been a waste of your time as well.
Though I do admit there is something familiar to her. Though I know not what, she's not unpleasant to look at, though was not the beauty of my lady, and certainly has a pugnacious way of communicating, but still there is a certain refinedness of character present in her that is bewitching.
Psh! Don't let her smooth veneer fool you. She comes in this fictitious form to impose her high-minded morality on our tragic tale.
A tale so glaringly harsh, so distressingly authentic. I blush with shame for you.
You'd have me dress it in romantic costume and make it tame. That is your pen, not mine. False depiction claims no laurels to my way of thinking.
I warn you, you will see for yourself the terrible effects of talents misused and faculties abused.
Sister, your veiled threats fall on deaf ears.
Oh, she scares me, my love. Here, let's turn our backs on the ghostly figure and count to 100, and maybe then she'll disappear back through the very squall that brought her.
Rachel turns her back to Jane and, closing her eyes, begins to count.
1, 2, 3.
Give up this foolish campaign, sister, I beg of you.
I would rather shrivel up and die.
Have it as you will. It will bring you no joy. On the contrary, it will haunt you like a specter for the rest of your days. however short they be.
I've given up on joy for myself, but as for the spectre, my child deserves a better legacy than the debauchery he will inherit from his father.
And what then of your greatest crime?
You pile charges upon me as if I were the greatest of felons.
Are you not? A woman who closes her bedroom door against her husband, whom she has vowed to cherish and keep, is not only a shocking crime against nature, but against God himself.
I am sure God would not want for me the kind of cherishing my beloved husband has bestowed.
Helen holds up her arm in the sling.
It is not for you to say. As a modern Victorian woman, your position is plain. You have no rights, no property. In short, the law is not on your side.
The law is unjust and wrong.
I repeat, it is not for you to say.
He had been false one too many times. I saw with my own eyes, heard with my own ears his preference for Annabella over his own wife, whom he vowed to cherish and keep. No, sister. From that moment, I became his wife in name only and made it clear to him I would be the mother of his child and the keeper of his house, but that was all.
Maybe the violence was justified then.
You are too hard on me, sister. What would you have me do?
Bear up.
Bear up? Why must it be the woman always? She must be always told to bear up. I believe there are limits, boundaries that must never be crossed.
Then what of his son, who is his property? You will be charged with kidnapping if you take him away from this place without permission.
Only if I'm found.
And what of this place you choose to settle? Wildfell Hall? What will that community think of such a woman as you? You will be stigmatized, ostracized. You will be alone and friendless.
You would have me remain with my husband, the recipient of more violence by his hand and tongue for the sake of societal mores?
Most certainly.
89. Oh, the brute. 90.
Forgive and forget is my philosophy. It is the Christian thing to do.
99. 100.
The Moorish wind again. The lights extinguish.
It has worked. Stay where you are, my love. I will relight the candles.
Rachel does so. When the room is lit again, Catherine appears in the center of the room.
Oh, fiddle, here's another.
Forget until the next beating at least? Eh, sister?
Mm-hmm.
Give me some time alone with the cock and I'll bring him back a much different bird, I assure you.
Sister!
This one she calls sister too. Oh, how I am confounded.
Pay no heed to her, dear Anne. I've never let a man force his will upon me unless it's my own will as well. Follow my example. Tell her, Nellie. She will listen to your sound advice over mine.
No, this is too much. She calls my Helen by the name of Anne and myself by the name of Nellie. Oh, good heavens, so I am off to wake the master. Maybe in this upside-down dream world, he will behave more like Prince Charming, who rescues the fair maiden, than the dragon who devours her.
Rachel leaves the room hurriedly.
If you've accepted that man as your lord and master, he has every right.
And what of you, Jane Eyre? You ran away. Why not she?
Ha! I was not yet married.
Barely.
I took pains to make sure my dear readers would look kindly on me. I too have lived a difficult life, but I have nothing to reproach myself for.
But by all that is sacred, nor have I.
Okay, let us parse your chronicle, shall we? A tragic yet genteel story involving a plain yet intelligent young girl, trodden upon and overlooked from childhood, who falls for an older gentleman well above her station, who in turn becomes enchanted by and who then guides our trodden upon and overlooked plain girl into womanhood through his protection and encouragement. Jane Eyre. But wait, that's the plot to all your novels, isn't it? Daddy issues much?
Must you debase my tasteful and refined story of love with your perverted psychological analysis?
There's that word again. How it vexes me.
Refined?
Refined. Unlike the wild thing born of your imagination. Brother issues much.
What do you mean? Speak plainly.
Do not deny that your beloved Heathcliff is fashioned after our own depraved and rakish brother.
My Heathcliff?
Yes.
Oh, that is absurd.
Obscure it with as much Gothic artifice as you like. The spirit of our beloved Branwell embodies that wild animal you created.
Anne's Mr. Huntington is much more the prototype of our poor brother than my Heathcliff.
That is so. I fashioned poor Arthur's decline after Branwell's abandonment to his depravity. It was my intention to use him as a lesson to all men who tempt fate in this unwholesome way.
And thus the flame of indignation ignites.
And through this characterization, you expose our brother's shortcomings to the world, leaving his history open to the unwitting judgment of your readers, strangers.
I hold a looking glass up to society and show its truth, no matter how ugly or depraved. It inflames my soul, the misdeeds done in the name of God and good.
Your tale benefits neither God nor good.
You are wrong. Through it, I give my Mr. Huntington, and thus Branwell, an opportunity for redemption, though you choose not to see it.
It is appalling to me, and too painful to contemplate.
You have no right to feel that way. It was Emily and I, yes, we alone, who stood by our brother at the end of his life, while you scorned him, harshly reminding him that his bodily deterioration was a just reward for his digressions.
Don't let her faux outrage fool you, sister. It is not your portrayal of our brother, nor her almost fanatical adherence to the laws of morality that are eating away at her. Nor is it distress at the effect of your personal well-being that these so-called unseemly topics would bring on.
I have always striven to ease the burden of life on her natural frailty. This unflinching portrait is bound to affect her mind and body, for she was never strong like you or me.
She is neither timid nor the fragile, sickly girl you make her out to be. How could such a work as this come from anyone so described? No, you are jealous.
Of what?
Our popularity. From the first when your book was rejected and ours were not.
But mine was printed first. While yours sat collecting dust on Mr. Newby's desk. It was because of the popularity of my Jane that your Catherine and your Agnes finally made it to sit on the shelf of a bookseller's shop.
That is nothing to the phenomenal success of your timid younger sister. The slamming of Helen Huntington's bedroom door against her husband's reverberated throughout the Victorian England. When was anything you've written ever reverberated thusly? Oh, outside the Women's Temperance Society.
It's true, dear Charlotte. My tenant of Wildfeather Hall sold out within 6 weeks.
I say shock value and grotesque portrayals of domestic life are a cheap gimmick to sell books.
Then what of you? You write through a filter which distorts reality into inconsequential romanticism, giving your heroine traits you do not possess, yet look down upon when lacked in others.
Admit it, sister. You'd have rather been a great beauty with ample charm to recommend yourself than the possessor of a great vocabulary, which only goes so far in securing the affection of a handsome man. Maybe then you would have landed your Professor Constantine.
She plainly loses the conceit in her novels, though she has not the bravery to seek it in life.
And what of my Wuthering Heights?
A Gothic horror story, more worthy of a Shelley than a Bronte.
Though you mean it as a slight, I take delight in the comparison.
Dear reader, I have the upper hand in this debate. Time is on my side, as they will both be in their graves soon enough. It is then I shall endeavor to bury them into obscurity.
What do you mean?
You heard that?
Yes.
Oh, fiddle. Nothing. Never mind.
To be continued.
Thank you, guys.
Ew. Wow. That is
What a fun end.
That's a mouthful.
It certainly is. I apologize to my ladies.
No, it's delicious.
Oh my God.
Words. The verbosity is intoxicating. That was lovely. All right. Well, let's open this up to popcorn moments, thoughts, images that resonated with you.
Miley, can I have a glass of your wine, please?
And Miley will bring wine for all of us.
I'll send it right over.
Okay, Ben.
Gil, I'm glad you're sticking with your great stories despite this difficult time. Keep going with the Brontes. It is such an amazing thing to see.
Thank you, Ben.
The same goes to all of you. I just hope you continue to write stories, whether it's about COVID, whether it's not about COVID. I just want to continue all to write great stories, because we're going to come out of this stronger than ever,
We'll come up with some wonderful pieces of work that get us through this, and we'll have pieces of work that go on beyond this. So we're definitely plowing through this like true theater people. That's what we do, right? So any specific moments of the language strike you, or the tone, or images that were conjured up? I know there's like so much, it's so dense, David. There's so much to think about and try to remember. Mandy?
I did have, I've said this of the pieces before, the first time I've heard drafts, the other ones, where I've been like, nah, I don't know, but I didn't have to read that in school. But I've always gotten them by the time they're up, so that's always been irrelevant. But this time through, I did get a little lost in the beginning, but when the three sisters started battling out, comparing each other's work, that is where I felt the Gil like cop right in. And even though I didn't know the stories very, very well, outside of you teaching them to me, I was with it. I was with it right there. And their dynamics were very clear.
Great. Thank you.
Emily.
Hello. Just wanted to thank you all for letting me join in tonight. So hello. Since I have the luxury of having all of these words in front of me, I actually marked a couple of phrases that just seemed like they'd actually leapt out of a Bronte novel, and I just love them. And one of them was like, a lady which paraded her dalliance, his vices have mastered him too well. And particularly, that is your pen, not mine. False depiction claims no laurels to my way of thinking.
Thank you.
Right? Ruby's doing this. What did people think about the humor in the scene? Did you follow the lines of what was going on, or did you want more? Or did you want more levels? Did you enjoy what you were seeing? I'm going to start calling on people Bueller. I won't. Jen.
Yeah, I mean, I was reading it, so I again, like Emily, I had the benefit of having the words in front of me. So I, especially when it came to three sisters arguing, it made so much sense and it was so clear. But I think because the issue here, even more so with the other two Brontes, which I think people do generally have at least an awareness of,
Yeah.
this one, because it was taken out of print, it's hard because this is probably the one that will need the most explanation. But I think that the relationship between Rachel and Helen, am I getting those names right?
Yep.
Yes, is so clear, but there's, and I'm clear about the abuse, but because I know the story like as you've told it to me, but I don't know the story enough to know if there's some other big piece that I'm missing. I know that she's going to run away, but there seems to be something larger that needs to be clicked in for me, but I
Okay.
don't quite know what fabric it is that I'm grasping at because the story is so unknown. But once again, I know other people have said this, once it gets into the nitty gritty of the three women discussing how their characters relate to each other, I think it's great. I think it's so clear, and especially clear between the two like strong Brontes and then the weak one, that they're fighting amongst themselves while she's there sometimes. But yeah, I think you have your work cut out for you because the story was taken out of, the general zeitgeist.
Yeah. No, that was very helpful. Thanks. Again, it's one of the, I wanted to kind of encapsulate the moment of like in Jane, in a most egregious way. It's that moment that she learns something that makes her go. And you're right. I need to kind of find that missing piece that I realized after you guys talking about it and listening to it that there is a part of it that misses, that heightens it. So thank you.
I had put a comment on the chat about, I mean, the way that my Zoom screen presented itself, there were two people on top and one in the bottom middle. And I was like, oh my gosh, it reminds me of the Three of Cups from a tarot card deck. And I think a lot of that had to do exactly with what you said, Jen, about seeing the relationship between the three sisters and the energy that it set up. And it was just interesting. Now it was a twisted Three of Cups, granted, but I think the way that you have them, that you've portrayed them, is so interesting, and their own characters are so disparate and yet similar. And it's really interesting because, as we were touching on before, so many people don't know about Anne, including myself. Thank you for teaching me something tonight. And it's really interesting to see and learn about the character seen with two of the major players, and then to see them working together and to know that her was left out, and that we haven't had the opportunity to see it. And so the dynamics were, I just found beautiful and interesting, and it left me questioning more. And I thought the energy was great, the way that it was written out between the three of them.
So I do have a question about the language. Did any of it catch you off? I mean, were you able to follow it, even though it's written in the style of these books? Were you able to follow along and understand the intention of each of the lines of dialogue?
Are you asking me, or are you asking?
I'm asking in general.
Oh, okay. Well, for me, yeah. I also had the luxury of knowing what the topic was, and I've seen some of your pieces related to this before. So I knew what to expect from the language, so I was ready for it.
And my other, I do, go ahead, Mark, sorry.
Yeah, I've read these books. I mean, years ago, and it was like sometimes I caught myself saying, "Wait a minute! Oh no, wait a minute! This is David's dialogue," and which was great because you captured it. So, and I also think that the humor really comes from how much these characters care. You know, they're just in terms of their relationships. I mean, the fact that they're so invested in what they want is what makes it ultimately humorous you know, in a sense to us, but they care very deeply about it. It's not funny to them necessarily.
Can I ask one more question? Is the first part of it, do you think it goes on too long, or can you glean from when the part when Jane enters what the outrage is in terms of the novel and her leaving? Is the first part between Rachel and Helen, does it go on too long? Can I get to Jane sooner, and would you miss any of that? Or do you like how those characters, is the setup too long? Go ahead, Mandy.
My initial, based on what I said earlier, my initial answer is yes, but I think that might be about something else. The answer might be no, so I'm gonna go with maybe. I think in terms of the language, like you were saying, like when the three were together, the intention was clear, and so they were quippy with one another. So I wonder if it's not that it goes on too long, but their conflict and their interactions with one another are perhaps a little wordy. So I don't know that it's not that there's not a chunk of the structure that needs to go away, or it might, but it did feel a little long to me.
Yeah, I overwrote, and then I decided I'd leave it just so that I can hear it. Peyton?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
Sorry.
afraid to say it a little because I also think that sometimes it's just like my general lack of knowledge of this sort of like heightened language. But for me, the beginning was a little bit less easy to understand because I wasn't super clear about the intention in the relationship. Whereas like when the three sisters were together, it made so much sense that I was like, oh, I'm drawn in, and now the language is not a barrier anymore.
Okay.
So yeah, so I don't know necessarily structure wise, maybe just shortened a little so that it's like slightly clearer, like tightening it maybe. But yeah, I mean, it's great.
That's super helpful. Thank you.
Miley?
Yes, similar to what Jen said earlier, in that I think if you clarified a little bit of context in the beginning, it wouldn't feel too long, because once the story clicked in the head for me, which took a second, but once I understood the context, then I was in for it, and it didn't feel like it was dragging on too long. The only part where it felt like it was a little extended was when I was trying to figure out the context of this particular story. So I think if you cleared some of that up, then you could keep that part a similar length, if that makes sense.
It's what's coming, sorry.
It's kind of,
shut up, David, listen.
that was pretty much it.
Jen?
Yeah, I just wanted to exactly jump off of that. It's because I know the story, right? So I know that it was taken out of print by her sister specifically because she left her husband, and that was scandalous. So in the beginning, I think I love first of all, it's funny. And second of all, it's a great relationship between the two of them. If it might not necessarily, as other people have said, be so much as the length as the specificity, because if the challenge is really going to be society says you cannot leave your husband, bar none, then to make it clear even within those two that it's a big deal that she's saying that, because the other ones do include, as you point out quite rightly, the hypocrisy is that Jane Eyre does leave a man, but the separation of husband versus just leaving a man. And even if those characters, again, I don't know if that's true to the text, but if there's some clarification, some specificity in their world within the fictional story of what the stakes are and why it's so important, what the big question is this okay? Because he's my husband, because I get what I'm getting more a sense of is that he's a brute, and do I leave the brute or not? And not necessarily do I break this huge convention or not.
Right. Okay.
Carla?
I was just gonna say, also I remember feeling this way when we did like the first cold read of A Most Egregious Way.
Yes.
Versus like teasing the humor out of it. Like even this, like, cause this is like, you know, you were working on this obviously up to today. And I think like, even having done it, I'm like, oh, there's humor there. But I know as an actor, I'm like, there was potentially without a director in the pic, like it's hard to know. I was like, oh, so like maybe like the big hugs and like that whole thing with Rachel is so heightened in the, you know what I'm saying? Like that was lost. I think I'm remembering moments that were lost when we did a cold read of A Most Egregious Way. And now I'm thinking about like the play as written. And I'm like, oh, there's all these moments where like that relationship with Rachel will be heightened, like the drama of the writing and the pacing, all these things that are, as are often in your pieces written in the stage directions, are physical and when played can be really funny. So I'm wondering as well how that would and how that did impact the presentation of it tonight. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No, I envision it as kind of like a gaslight melodrama in the beginning. I'm also wondering, and I know that, I'm sorry, Mary, I know that you wanted to say something. Do you think it would benefit a Jane Eyre-like intro like we did with Dear Reader, I've been wronged in a most egregious way to set it up? Or is that just overusing something that worked? I guess that's up to me. Mandy?
So I know you've wanted these to go in a certain order for quite a long time. Where is this one in the order? That answers your question.
Right.
Is it going to help lead right into this one? So people are like, meh, 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 meh. Okay, I'm engaged, right?
Yeah.
Mary, did you have something?
Yeah, sure. It's going back to what we were just talking about, though. I am always I love trying to figure out what's going on. That's just me. And I was super drawn into the beginning, to both of the different characters and what was going on. Similar to what I don't know who just spoke, but I feel like on Zoom it's harder. I feel like if there was a lot of like crossing their lines over and interrupting each other and physical comedy and all of that, I don't think it's overwritten because I love heightened language and I loved all of the language that you used within that scene.
Thank you.
Aaron,
Edna?
Edna.
Edna. No, not my new name. Hands. I think going along with what Mandy said, I think in A Most Egregious Way, you not only had the Dear Reader at the beginning, but it came back throughout the piece and it served a specific purpose. I think it just depends on what purpose you want it to serve in this piece. Like, do you want it to serve in the similar way to A Most Egregious Way? Do you want to set up and like let us know like this backstory of the piece in advance about the novel and the sister relationship in advance? Like what is your ultimate goal? And I think that'll help you with deciding whether or not to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
because it's like, you know, there, like everybody said, there are so many options. You can have, you know, like The Most Egregious Way, the direct address. You could have a voiceover setting it up. You know, at blah, 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 in blah, blah, in 16, blah, blah, Anne was, you know, her book was taken off the shelves and you give the backstory and then pick up in it or not, you know. And I also agree with, oh, I can't remember who said it. I'm going to say Mandy because we've made a
It's a safe bet.
I'm just going to say Mandy. Or maybe it was Jennifer, sorry, it was one of you, about the physical, like once you're able to, oh no, wait, was that Carla? Oh, darn it. When you're able to morph in and add in the physical along with the verbosity, as it were, that I think you will also find opportunity as your writing student to trim a little bit here and there as the physical takes place for some of the things that would otherwise be said, you know? So yeah, I think there's, you know, things that can be tied up, but again, it's all up to you and where you want to take it. And
This is
Miley?
Yes, hello. This is just a sidebar, but a popcorn moment I loved, and it was kind of going back to what happened in Most Egregious Way. But when Jane Eyre realizes that all of these other characters can hear her asides now, that was a great popcorn moment. It was very fun.
I'll say one more thing, David, that I asked you a question about it right before we did the lab about like, oh, so these are the characters and the characters become the authors. Like it was like, for me, that as far as like, and I guess like, I don't know how the structure moves forward from this moment, right, into but I wonder if that, as a device I do wonder if it's necessary. Do you know what I mean? Like I was a bit confused on like the first read. I was like, oh, she's the character. Now she's the author, but we still have Rachel who becomes representative of Rachel-like, Nellie-like characters that are scattered. I understand but I think for audience members who are not, and as I'm not too, because I was like, who am I playing? Who is Helen? Like some people have read them, some people haven't. And so I think that complicating it, adding that extra complication, which is a device and is clever and would reach maybe some audience members who are super familiar. I guess my question is it necessary, or is it necessary for what you're trying to accomplish in the piece? Because I do think the meat of it, I mean, there's a lot of humor there, obviously, I think, potentially. But I think what the piece is arguing between the sisters, like the points that are being very well made in the piece, are what I was, as a reader and a performer, really invested in. So that's the last thing I'll say on that.
okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? Final comments? Yes, Jennifer.
Sorry, I just have one more quick thing about that convention that Carla was just talking about. I agree that right now, I'm not sure how well it's being picked up. I do think it's possible to punch it up instead, and to point out, because again, I feel like what you're pointing to that's so interesting is kind of these like catty comments about each other's writing styles. So the fact that they each have one of those characters, I think you can call direct attention to. And right now it's being called to indirectly, but I think you can just nail that right on the head for the audience with like a bad pitch, but like, okay, we all have one, you know, like just a out there line that's talking about the convention. Because I think it's fun and interesting that this person is being treated like a convention and kind of being gaslit in a horrible way, but just like treated like a non-entity character. I think it's all of the times when you're playing with them tearing apart each other's books is really fun, and I think you can be hyper explicit about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, Mandy.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like we didn't talk about how, like, we talked about the Rita moment, but it was so funny. And it would be funny if you're doing them in a series to tie into those really quirky little moments in all the other ones too.
Yeah.
I like that we got a shout out to that. I want the shout outs to the other ones too.
Okay.
Yes, that had been in the back of my mind. Thank you for reminding.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just want to say one thing here to David Michael Kirby.
Yeah. Thank you, David.
Wonderful job on YouTube. And I was remiss in not introducing you, and I apologize. The job on YouTube is none too easy. So thank you for all that you did this evening on YouTube. David Mike Kirby, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
And as far as Lab 31, I think we can call this a wrap. We encourage anybody who may still be watching out there, which we hope you are, to come and visit our website at newambassadorstheater.com, where you can get information about our company members, our writers, directors, actors. You can get information about our upcoming labs. You can get information on how to donate to our amazing company of super splendiferous talent. And we would be oh so grateful. And those are some things that can really make a difference in the theater community. So we thank you in advance for your support. And if David would like to say something to wind this up.
Well, I'll let you wind it up, but I want to say that Lab 32 is going to be December 18th. And we have, I think we are looking for one more writer, but Jen and John, Jennifer and John are going to be presenting. So is, oh God, I should have had this prepared, but I didn't think, Kendra.
Jennifer, John, and Alex.
And Alex, sorry, and Kendra Augustin, and are you, who else? Oh gosh. Anyway, it'll be up there, sorry. But the doodle for acting to sign up to read a role will go up tomorrow. And the doodle for the first quarter of 2021 for writers will go up if you want a slot and you want to present work. So thank you. And now
those are accessible via our Facebook
on our Facebook page and on our website. And if you get the newsletter, and if you don't get the newsletter, you can sign up to get the newsletter by going to the website and signing up for our newsletter that Miley and I put together every 2 weeks.
Woo!
Would everybody look at their camera, please, so I can take a screenshot? Eyes open, no blinking. Ready? 3, 2, stand by. Let me look at it. Hold on. Oh, you're all so gorgeous. Thank you.
I'm gonna actually stop the YouTube.
Thank you
So we
guys
can all-
for